I just spent the last 2 weeks studying Thomas Sowell's book, Basic Economics, and I realized something. The economy is not nearly as complicated as people make it seem. The reason people get manipulated isn't because they're stupid. It's because most people never learned the invisible forces behind everyday decisions. Every election cycle, every news channel, every social media platform tells you the same things. Prices are too high because someone is greedy. Housing is expensive because someone is the problem. The economy is broken because someone isn't paying their fair share. But what if many of the things we believe about the economy are missing a bigger picture? By the end of this video, you'll understand why taxing high earners can sometimes produce less revenue than expected, why rent controls can create housing shortages, why making something cheaper can sometimes make it disappear, and why prices, profits, and losses are actually signals that keep society working. Some of these ideas sound completely backwards, but once you understand the logic behind them, you start seeing the world differently. Let's begin. The first idea is simple. People respond to incentives, not intentions. In 2008, Maryland had a problem. The government needed more revenue, so lawmakers created a special tax on millionaires. The logic sounded simple. There are thousands of wealthy people in the state. If we tax them more, we collect more money. The intention was clear. Raise revenue, fund government programs, help the state. But economics doesn't measure intentions. It measures behavior. And when incentives change, people change their decisions. After the tax was introduced, many high-income residents changed where they lived, where they earned income, or how they structured their finances. The result was that the state collected much less revenue than expected. The lesson is not that every tax increase fails. The lesson is deeper. People respond to incentives. Create a reward, and people move toward it. Create a penalty, and people move away from it. Businesses respond to regulations. Employees respond to salaries. Customers respond to prices. And in your own life, people respond to what you reward. If you want to understand someone's behavior, don't just listen to what they say they value. Look at what the system encourages them to do. The second idea is that every decision has a hidden cost. Imagine you have $10. You want a coffee. You want lunch. You want to watch a movie. Can you have everything? Probably not. Because choosing one thing means giving up something else. Economists call this opportunity cost. Every choice has a trade-off, and most people ignore the things they give up. Let's say you buy a $50,000 BMW. It's beautiful, it's comfortable, it feels like success. But the real cost isn't just $50,000. The real cost is everything that money could have become. If instead you bought a reliable $20,000 car and invested the difference, that money could potentially grow significantly over decades. The BMW didn't just cost you money, it cost you future possibilities. And this applies to everything. Every hour you spend scrolling online has a cost. Every hour you spend learning a valuable skill has a benefit. Your money, your time, and your attention are limited resources. Economics is simply the study of how you choose to use them. The third idea is that prices are information. During the Cold War, Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev visited Britain and asked Margaret Thatcher a simple question: how do you make sure people get food? Her answer was surprising. Prices. Now think about London. The city doesn't grow enough food to feed millions of people. There isn't one person sitting in a government office deciding exactly how much fish, coffee, bread, and meat each neighborhood receives. And yet somehow every day, stores are stocked. Food arrives from farms and factories all over the world. How? Prices. Prices communicate information. A rising price tells producers that people want more of something. A falling price tells them demand may be decreasing. Think about pizza. Imagine you were responsible for deciding every pizza-related decision in an entire country. How many pizzas should each city receive? How much cheese should factories produce? How much wheat should farmers grow? How much milk should become cheese instead of ice cream? The amount of information required would be impossible for one person to collect. But prices solve that problem every day. Millions of people make decisions, and those decisions are connected through the price system. Prices are not perfect, but they communicate information that no individual could ever know. One of the most common promises in politics is, "We will make this cheaper." And who doesn't want cheaper housing, cheaper food, cheaper healthcare. The problem is that lower prices do not automatically create more supply. Sometimes they create the opposite. Imagine your school announces, free pizza for everyone. At first, everyone is excited. Then everyone shows up. Some people take extra slices. Some people grab more than they need because they don't know when they'll get pizza again. Soon, the pizza is gone. The problem wasn't that people wanted pizza. The problem was that the price no longer communicated scarcity. Housing can work the same way. When governments limit how much landlords can charge, more people want those apartments because they are cheaper. But if landlords have less incentive to build, maintain, or rent properties, supply can decrease. Now more people are competing for fewer homes. The result is a shortage. This same principle appears everywhere. If a price is pushed too low, demand increases and supply often decreases. If a price is pushed too high, resources can be wasted. Before asking, how do we make something cheaper? The better question is, how do we make sure more of it exists? Profits and losses are signals. Imagine you're selling snacks at school. Everyone loves your fruit snacks. You sell out every day. That profit is a signal. It tells you people want more of this, so you produce more. Now imagine you start selling raisins. Nobody buys them. You lose money. That loss is also a signal. It tells you maybe your resources should go somewhere else. Most people think losses are bad, but losses provide information. A company losing money is the market communicating that something isn't working. When unsuccessful businesses disappear, resources like workers, equipment, and money can move toward better opportunities. The problem happens when those signals are ignored. When failing companies are protected forever, resources can remain stuck in places where they create less value. Your personal life works the same way. The things producing results, do more of them. The things draining your time and energy, change them. Losses are not always failures. Sometimes they are instructions. Your salary is also a price. Many people ask, why does one job pay more than another? The answer is value. Imagine two people working at a lemonade stand. Maria is fast, she is friendly, customers love her. When Maria works, sales increase by $10 per hour. A business can afford to pay her more because she creates more value. Now imagine Jake. He's distracted, he's slow, customers leave, he creates less additional value. A business cannot pay him more than the value he creates for very long. This isn't about whether someone is a good or bad person. It's about economics. Companies don't pay only for effort. They pay for results. If you want to earn more money, create more value, learn skills, solve bigger problems, become someone who is difficult to replace. The final idea is that trade makes everyone better off. Imagine you have a sandwich. Your friend has pizza. You trade half. Did you create more food? No. But are both of you happier? Yes. That is the power of trade. Trade creates value by allowing people to specialize. A lawyer could clean their own office. But if cleaning takes 2 hours, those are 2 hours they could have spent helping clients. Instead, they hire someone else. The cleaner earns money. The lawyer creates more value. Both people benefit. Countries work the same way. When people specialize in what they do best and trade with others, everyone becomes more productive. Trade is not a competition where one side wins and the other loses. Voluntary trade happens because both sides believe they are gaining something valuable. The same principle applies to your life. You don't need to do everything yourself. Focus on what you do best. Trade your strengths with others. Everything we discussed today comes back to one idea. Choices have consequences. Every decision has a trade-off. Every incentive changes behavior. Every price carries information. Understanding economics will not automatically make you rich, but it will make you much harder to fool. Because once you understand incentives, you stop listening only to promises. You start asking, what happens next? And that question changes everything. If you enjoyed this breakdown, check out the next video on the screen. Thanks for watching.